Action.
Okay. Hi. So for my Skillshare, I am going to show couching on windows / some at-home paper making. So I have that, and I already rehydrated fiber. So start by pulling a sheet like normal. And then I'm just gonna dump excess water. And now to the window. Okay. So I've done 2 already, and my brother made his first sheet on there. So you just wanna couch straight on the window, and then give it a couple. I mean, it rocks, and I'm also giving it a couple pats. And then you should be able to feel it kind of coming off, and then, oh, let's press one, yeah. All right. Okay, so, I mean, that's kind of, well, okay, I'll do a bigger one, but that's kind of it to the, so I think the thing that works best is to rock it and make sure when you're taking the sheet off that you are not removing it vertically but horizontally, so it kind of all just, the direction is shorter kind of things. So what? Be the guest. Okay. Okay. So the same thing for the bigger one. Yeah, so the bubbles, there's like a little more room for bubbles because it's like pressing, but you can also kind of just press it down or shove them off to the side, or I don't really mind the bubbles because the texture on the back is so different and it's really fun. A lot of guests. Yeah, so that's basically it. To take them off when they dry, you just have to kind of go slow, and I've been like repressing them under a couple of books because this is like a no press method, so they can curl a little off the window. And then cleanup is really simple. You can wash the pulp off with water and then like hit the window with Windex. So that is my demo. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so this is what some of the paper drying, or the yellow paper drying, looks like. So this one, which I had trouble getting on because it was pretty thin, folded over, but it's pretty much dry. This one that's darker is still wet. This one's dry. A couple still wet, but a couple of them are dry enough to pull off. I'm gonna attempt to film me pulling it off one-handed, but excuse me, this technique. Okay, yeah. So it's not too difficult, but it's like pretty important that you use kind of an even amount of pressure. Ooh, yeah, it's not that bad. Ooh, really sunny. And then this is how the front looks, so it still has like the texture is all choppy, but there you go. Yeah, the back here, so anywhere there was a bubble is gonna have a gap kind of, but this, if you could feel it, is very soft. So that is one. Let's see, for the bigger ones it can be a little trickier. Sometimes it's hard to get that corner started, but you wanna make sure that this is where it gets tricky, like any little bits, they can kind of fall off. So I've been kind of, prying it loose from the edges, like so, and then, kind of just, yeah, that. Ooh. So this is a bigger sheet. It had a ripple which dried in it, but that's all right. You can see in the back some bubbles, but it is a very cool texture. Oh, it's falling. Yeah, so this one's also probably ready to come off, but I'm gonna leave the other ones up to dry a little longer. Yeah. Camera setup. Okay, so here's the finished dried piece of paper, and then I'm gonna just show my super duper simple press method. These ones aren't too curly, and they're definitely dry enough to stack on top of each other. If your paper's a little wet, I've been putting like wax paper, or you could use like newspaper or whatever down in between so they don't stick together. So then this is simple. This is not an advanced technique, but I put the paper down. I get a stack of cookbooks and then I press it. So this one's a little big, so I have been kind of arranging them to cover most of the paper just because the edges tend to pull up because you pulled it off of a window. So that's my press. So I'm just showing this setup from a different angle because I realized in the demo part of this you couldn't see what I had done. But basically, yeah, these edges are the most curled, and then yeah, just lay some books on top of it and it flattens out pretty good. Okay, so the final part is showing some finished paper. So you already saw some of the yellow papers, and I made a batch of Abaca paper beforehand, and I have some in my studio space that I want to show. Okay, so this one had been rolled, so it has this really cool, crazy texture, but it was somewhat wet and it was curling, so I rolled it and let it dry rolled and then unrolled it. So let's see. Oh yeah, you can see that this is like the bumpy side that was on the like outside facing out, and this is the back side that was on the window. Let's see. Ooh, sorry, that was weird angle. I don't know where the rest of my pieces went. I have been making really small batches. I think I used some in my wallpapering, so I'm trying to see a good one of those to point out. Okay, yes. So 1 second. Excuse the confusion, but this paper right there is one of the window papers. They're a little harder to flatten and press down, but they can create really cool textures. Oh, here's another one that is a lot more, oh, that's very zoomed in, a lot more flattened because I've been using wallpaper paste, so it tends to really push things down, but I have this really cool whole part, and then the black paint like picks up the texture well. Oh yeah, and then this one's a really good example. So this one is a true window texture. It's like very much like a popcorn ceiling, or at least this paper looked like that to me. Some of that effect is changed when it is pressed, but there is the texture that the paint is picking up.